A girl grew up next to gorilla, who were then released into the jungle. 12 years later, the girl decided to find this gorilla in the jungle, but then something shocking happened and no one believed on it. This story starts from Howlett's Wild Animal Park in England. On a foggy spring day, a girl named Tansy Aspinall woke up to the loud sounds of birds and the fresh scent of morning air. The only daughter of Damien Aspinall, a renowned conservationist and environmentalist. Tansy Aspinall didn't really have an ordinary childhood. When she was a kid, her parents owned and operated a facility that rehabilitated captive gorillas. The goal of the facility is to one day get the gorillas back to their West African homeland. As you can imagine, Tansy's youngest years passed in such a different manner than most of her friends. She had fulfilled days in the facility with her gorilla friends, and surely to her, the world seemed like a perfect place. Thus, two Western lowland gorillas, Jalta and Bims, became Tansy's constant companions. Despite their size and strength, these imposing creatures were gentle and caring when it came to little Tansy. She even learned to walk under Jalta's watchful eye, who would lend a hand to help her keep her balance. Bims was her playmate, and they often ran around together, filling the air with laughter and joyful cries. For her 5th birthday, Tansy received a gorilla-shaped necklace from her father, symbolizing her deep bond with her furry friends and her commitment to conservation. On that day, Damien told her, "You are a bridge between our worlds. The gorillas accept you as one of their own, and this is both a precious gift and a great responsibility." These years of Tansy's childhood were filled with profound meaning and immense love for the animals. She grew up knowing that every moment with Jalta and Bims was an important lesson in life, teaching her respect, care, and the interdependence of all beings on our planet. However, one day, Tansy had to face the sad reality of parting with her gorilla friends. They needed to return to the wild, join their kind, and help preserve their species. This farewell was one of the most challenging and dramatic moments in her life. Now Tansy had grown up to be a beautiful woman. As she turned 25, she wished to reunite with her childhood friends. So she and her father decided to go to Gabon, where they would reunite with the gorillas they had raised for so long. It had been 12 years since Tansy had seen her friends, Jalta and Bims. However, she and her father, Damien, didn't expect that something else might happen on their journey to Gabon. With a team of documentarians and biologists, she set off on the journey with her father. After a long trip, they finally reached the jungle. Every smell and sound brought back vivid childhood memories. The next few days were spent diligently searching for the gorillas using radio collars. It had been a long time since Tansy had seen her friends. Now she was a bit concerned about whether they would recognize her and how they would react to her. However, she had a feeling that everything was going to be all right, and she strongly believed that everything would go just the way it should. But little did she know that encountering gorillas wouldn't be the only thing she would remember Gabon for. When Tansy and her team ventured deep into the jungle, a movement in the dense vegetation caught their attention. Hearts beat faster, cameras were ready, and all eyes were on Tansy. The tropical air, filled with the most wonderful scents, surrounded the travelers as they cautiously moved forward. Every sound seemed amplified. Tansy, leading the group, knew she wouldn't stop until she reached her goal. Now they entered an area where a group of gorillas, possibly including Jalta and Bims, had recently been seen. Tansy felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. She knew the gorillas could have changed significantly after years in the jungle. They were no longer young animals playing in the reserve. They were now likely leaders of their groups, wild and well-adapted to harsh conditions. Suddenly, one of the team members stopped and pointed to a thick bush from which low sounds and movements could be heard. Tansy's heart raced. She held her breath, camera ready. The bushes rustled more intensely, and then an enormous gorilla emerged. It took Tansy only a few seconds to recognize Bims by his gaze and posture. He stopped and looked directly at her. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the world around them seemed to disappear. Tansy couldn't tell if Bims recognized her or was just curious about the people. The gorilla took a step forward. Tansy sensed the team's tension, aware of the potential danger. Hoping the animal would recognize her, she stepped forward and softly said, "Bims, it's me, Tansy." Her voice shook, but the gorilla heard her. It tilted its head, watching her closely. The group held their breath, observing the silent exchange. After a moment, Bims made a low sound, and Tansy felt he recognized her. Bims took another step forward and finally relaxed. Tansy hoped the gorilla was no longer a threat. She took another step, and Bims came even closer. The tension between them faded, and Bims made low sounds reminiscent of those from his childhood. He stopped a few steps away and reached out, lightly touching her. Tansy overcame her fear and touched his hand in return. Tears welled up in Tansy's eyes as Bims gently hugged her, surprising everyone. They stood embraced for a long moment, captured by the documentarians. It was a touching reunion, reaffirming their deep bond formed 12 years ago. After spending some wonderful hours with Bims and his family, it was time to say goodbye again. With a heavy heart, she approached Bims, knowing they wouldn't meet again. This time, there were no tears, just gratitude. She whispered her farewell, promising to continue their important work. Bims seemed to understand. With a gentle look, he returned to his family, disappearing into the jungle. Tanny returned to civilization, carrying memories of the reunion and a renewed passion for conservation. Determined to follow in her father's footsteps, she aimed for a future where humans and animals coexist harmoniously. This reunion, captured in photos and video, symbolized the bond between humans and animals and emphasized the importance of environmental conservation. If this story brings a smile to your face, then don't hesitate to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more content like this.